Welcome to Beyond Bulbasaur. This is the first episode I've recorded since completing my first Pokédex. I did so in a ROM hack, but I'm still counting it. The ROM hack was the TPP Anniversary Edition of Pokémon Red, TPP standing for Twitch Plays Pokémon. This version was hacked so that all 151 original Pokémon are obtainable, including version exclusives and Pokémon that you have to choose between, like starters and fossil Pokémon. Also, the grassy areas are much more diverse. All levels are used up to 100 when fighting trainers, and a number of other things that make the game feel exactly what I wish all Pokemon games could be. Highly recommended. But let's talk about Sandshrew. A few weeks ago, I made a Facebook status asking people for their favorite Gen 1 Pokemon. 2 of the 10 or so responders said Sandshrew, and I was confused. No offense to the little fella, but when I completed that aforementioned Pokédex, Sandshrew was one of the last Pokemon I caught. Gun to my head, if I had to tell you my least favorite Gen 1 Pokemon, there are definitely days of the week where I'd say Sandshrew. All that being said, Sandshrew is someone's favorite. So what's going on there? Sandshrew's typing immediately puts them at a disadvantage. Ground type is weak to grass and water in Gen 1. And Gen 1 has a lot of water types. Beyond that, the first few ground types you run into are rock ground. So you get a sense that ground type is really weak because those Pokemon have a 4 times weakness to the grass and water. The trading card game merging these 2 types as part of fighting type doesn't help this argument. And then on top of all this, Sandshrew is a blue version exclusive, and I was a red version kid. It looks like the red version counterpart is Ekans, who is definitely much cooler. I think we've already done an episode on Ekans. One Facebook friend pointed out that ground type in Gen 1 is cool because it's fully immune to electric. I mean, that's true, but there are a lot more water and grass types out there than electric, and some of my favorite Gen 1 Pokemon are grass types, namely Venusaur and Exeggutor. Plus, ground type moves don't affect flying. And anyway, Pokemon is an easy enough game that you don't really need to min-max your type advantages. I don't want to spend the whole episode complaining about Sandshrew, though. He's a Pokemon of choice for Team Rocket, and I always like the Pokemon who feel like they're coded as villains. He's also sort of mid-tier Pokemon that gives a random trainer a personality, and that maybe I would seek out if I was trying to run a team of Pokemon that was outside the norm, just to give myself a different playthrough experience. And I mean, a high-level Sandslash is probably solid for that reason. But if we're talking about version exclusives, I prefer Ekans. If we're talking about ground types, I prefer Diglett. If we're talking about those mid-game overlooked Pokemon, I like Tentacool. Rodents, probably Pikachu or Rattata. And villain-coded Pokemon, I like Spearow or Beedrill. Sandshrew is just Sandshrew. Still, they're more memorable than 90% of the post-Gen 1 Pokemon, so I guess there's something to that. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time. Keep catching them all.